Next one up on this class, a surreal length and physicality cornerback on the outside. To me, the pop in his hands on press coverage was the most significant thing. Not letting receivers get off the line of scrimmage is the big thing. Another efficient and effective tackler, which is a common trait for these top three cornerbacks, which I really like out of cornerbacks.
Yep.
Someone that can tackle and hold their own in open space. All three of these guys can do it. But it seems to me like Porter has the most intelligence out of this year's class. Being football smart on the field and on defense, and he's come from a football family. Joey Porter in the league as well as dad, but another guy who seems like a day one starter in the league this year.
Yeah, he's going to try to follow in his dad's footsteps, a former Pro Bowler, his dad. So he's got it in his blood. He's got the ability to be a top corner. Not being in the first round seems very crazy. I think he is extremely fast, and he's extremely intelligent, and I've had him as my cornerback 3 for pretty much this entire process. At one point, he was probably my cornerback 2. He is one of the slower guys. Ran a 4.46 40. So very similar to Witherspoon, but a different kind of player. There's just not enough weaknesses for him to drop that far. With what this class is, the amount of corners that usually get drafted in NFL drafts in the first round, it's one of the sexy positions. Got to go for it. He's clearly the number 3 or the number 4 in this class, coming out of college. So, he's got great recovery, good length. He's big, 6'2", 193. So he's got much better frame than the other two guys that we've talked about so far. And he also has the ability with his size to be able to go up against pass-catching tight ends. That's a big thing about him. So when you're playing a guy like Kyle Pitts or Michael Mayer when he comes in, guys, Mark Andrews, those kind of guys, you're going to be able to put Joey Porter on them. So that's a big plus that he has.
And the other difference from the first two guys we talked about with Joey Porter, I thought he played a lot more of a sound mix of zone and man coverage throughout his tape that I saw with the two games. The first one, 2021 season against Auburn, and the second game we had was against Purdue and Aiden O'Connell this year. But this year, his stats, 0 touchdowns allowed, 0 touchdowns allowed, 11 pass deflections, and in his career had 113 career tackles, played 83% of his snaps on the outside.
Yep.
So a primarily outside guy, didn't do much work in the slot this past season, but a guy who is a little bit more favorable because of his zone coverage ability that the other two didn't really get to showcase back in college. And again, just anywhere on the field, the guy can make a tackle.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things when you're talking about these top 3 corners, if this is your top 3 corners, Christian Gonzalez is probably going to be a cornerback 1 out the gate. Joey Porter Jr. has cornerback 1 potential. You never know, but he could definitely reach that. Devin Witherspoon, he's going to be an outside corner. Don't know if he can ever reach cornerback 1 on offense. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't have that factor where he's going to go up against DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to go up against Garrett Wilson. He's going to go up against Devontae. He's not going to go up against those guys.
Yeah.
So when you're drafting him, top 10, it's a stretch to go for him, but it's something where his on-the-field play shows that he can be elite, even if it's not guarding the number 1 guy on the field. So you could see Joey Porter being the second one off the board because of that. Mm-hmm. You could see Devin Witherspoon still be the number 1 corner that goes, just because you really like what you see in the film. So it's very interesting to see how teams are going to go about strategically drafting these guys. But no, Joey Porter is very underrated and potential to be a cornerback 1 in the NFL.
Yeah. So when we pull up the film here on Joey Porter, I liked his range. This is a guy who I thought recognized the quick game in the flats very well, and the short yardage, coverage of a cornerback. But I also thought the teams can get a lot of value out of him being a deep third coverage player as well. So either in man or zone coverage, you can do a cover 3, have him in the back end on your defense, and also his ability to just play around the frame of a receiver. Sticking with the receiver, being able to reach around them, and play like a receiver is honestly not even there, and just play on the football and extend on the football, but still do it in a legal manner. We're not playing through a receiver in terms of pass interference time and time again. Very smart, very intelligent. Got a nice scoop and score touchdown. So a very instinctful player that I really like in this year's class. That, again, I just don't see how people are now saying this week this guy can't be a first rounder.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy because there are only two weaknesses that kind of stand out to me, and both of these things are things that can be developed and changed and fixed. One, he's got a very noticeable delay in his transition from press. That has to change because if you're going to put up against the line and you're going to press someone, you need to be able to recover and stick with them afterwards.
Yeah.
But again, something that can be worked on. Second, it's his change of direction quickness as an open field tackler. That, he is nothing like Christian Gonzalez or Devin Witherspoon when it comes to open field tackling. And that's something you just need to work on. Something that you go into practice, get it worked on, fix it, and you'll be just fine. He's capable as an open field tackler. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's no issues with that, but it is something that will probably need to be improved at the next level. Just because if he showed struggles in college, the struggles are going to be a little bit more noticeable in the NFL.
Yeah. So do you think he's going to follow in the father's footsteps?
Yeah, I think he will.